Have you ever imagined that a simple everyday coin you might have seen countless times could secretly hold a story worth millions, a hidden treasure resting quietly in pockets, jars, and drawers across America, waiting to be discovered? Well, today we dive into the fascinating world of the 1996 USA 1-cent coin, a coin that in some rare cases has been reported to reach a staggering face value of $4 million, and what makes it even more gripping is that this story isn't about a flashy gold piece or a diamond-encrusted medallion, but about the humble penny, the copper-plated zinc coin we often overlook. Yet in the numismatic world, this unassuming cent can transform from a common coin into one of the most valuable collectibles in history. And the question everyone wants to know is, how can a coin that normally is worth just 1 cent become worth millions? The answer lies in the fascinating combination of minting errors, variations, historical significance, condition, rarity, and the passionate drive of collectors who compete to own something extraordinary. The 1996 1-cent coin comes at a transitional period in U.S. minting history, where the technology of coin striking was improving yet still imperfect, and these imperfections are the golden tickets that make certain coins unique and highly prized. For instance, double die errors, off-center strikes, planchet mistakes, repunched mint marks, and rare condition grades like MS-70 all contribute to inflating the value astronomically. Imagine pulling out a 1996 penny from your change and realizing the Lincoln portrait looks doubled with ghostly outlines due to a misaligned die strike. Such a discovery would immediately turn your penny from a common piece into something highly valuable. Sometimes these doubled dies appear on the lettering, such as "In God We Trust," or "Liberty," or even the date itself. And collectors worldwide crave these anomalies because they make each coin a one-of-a-kind piece of minting history. Off-center strikes are another major factor, where the coin is struck improperly so that only part of the design appears on the flan, leaving blank spaces, and depending on how dramatic the off-center is, values can shoot up into the thousands. Now consider combining such an error with a pristine condition graded by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC. Suddenly the price skyrockets into the millions. The 1996 USA 1-cent coin also has unique significance because it represents the later years of the Lincoln Memorial reverse design, which itself spanned from 1959 to 2008, so coins from this era already carry nostalgia and historical weight. Further, some coins minted in 1996 carry subtle differences between Philadelphia and Denver issues, and errors associated with these mints add to their intrigue. For example, a repunched D mint mark on Denver strikes can become highly sought after, while Philadelphia coins without a mint mark that show unusual doubling or strike-through errors fetch incredible premiums. The story deepens when we consider how collectors fuel the demand. Every numismatist dreams of discovering the next big rarity in circulation, and stories of people finding error coins in pocket change or rolls from the bank inspire waves of treasure hunting. Auction houses have sold rare cents from the 1990s for amounts that shock the casual observer, and when media outlets report on these sales, suddenly the idea of a penny worth millions doesn't seem so far-fetched. The value of $4 million attached to the rarest 1996 1-cent examples isn't merely a number pulled from thin air but reflects the possibilities that come when rarity, condition, and error align with collector obsession. Think of it as the perfect storm where a coin is simultaneously scarce, visually distinct due to an error, historically anchored, and preserved in such impeccable condition that it appears untouched since it left the mint. Combine all these factors and you have a coin that moves beyond simple currency and becomes art, history, and investment rolled into one. Now, to truly understand why these coins are worth so much, we need to imagine the minting process. Thousands of blanks called planchets are fed into giant presses at immense speed. Dies strike them with immense force, but even the most carefully calibrated machines can fail. Dies can crack, chip, or shift slightly. Planchets can be imperfect. Sometimes foreign objects like grease or debris interfere, creating filled dies that obscure letters or details. Sometimes a double strike occurs when the coin isn't ejected properly, leading to dramatic overlapping images, and in rare cases transitional errors happen where a coin is struck on the wrong metal composition. For example, imagine if a 1996 cent were struck accidentally on a leftover bronze planchet from the pre-1982 era instead of the intended copper-plated zinc. Suddenly you have a coin that stands out to experts immediately and could sell for life-changing sums. Every small variation that escapes quality control becomes a collector's dream. The human psychology behind collecting also plays a massive role. Rarity itself creates desire, and once wealthy collectors compete for these coins at auction, the values skyrocket far beyond the intrinsic metal worth. And when a coin gains a reputation like the 1996 cent for potentially being worth millions, it becomes a symbol of numismatic fortune. Inspiring people worldwide to search their spare change and coin jars in hopes of striking gold, stories circulate about families finding rare pennies in old collections, about kids checking rolls of cents from the bank and discovering varieties that sell for thousands, and with each new discovery the legend of the 1996 cent grows stronger, multiplying interest and value. It is also important to emphasize that professional grading plays the gatekeeping role in determining million-dollar status. Coins graded mint state 67 or higher are extraordinarily rare, and when paired with dramatic errors they represent the top-tier collectible class. Auction houses like Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers have seen bidding wars where values climb exponentially because two or more collectors refuse to back down, driving a coin's price into the stratosphere. This competitive environment explains why a penny can jump from cents to millions in perceived value, and the 1996 cent story sits comfortably within this narrative. Another fascinating angle is how history intertwines with the coin. 1996 marked the 50th anniversary of the end of World War II's direct aftermath era, and the Cold War tensions still influenced American culture. Coins minted during this time quietly reflect the economy, the design stability of the Lincoln Memorial Cent, and the continuity of American identity, so collectors view them not just as metal discs but as artifacts of an era. The 1996 cent holds sentimental meaning as part of the coins many Americans grew up with, making them both nostalgic and historically significant. When you layer nostalgia onto rarity, you ignite even more demand. All of these factors swirl together to explain why the rarest 1996 1-cent coins are considered to have a value as high as $4 million. And the mystique grows every year as fewer error coins remain undiscovered and more enter private collections never to be seen again. So next time you find yourself with a 1996 penny in your hand, take a closer look. Examine Lincoln's portrait, the lettering, the edges, the reverse details of the memorial, because you never know if you might be holding one of the rarest and most valuable cents in history, a coin that defies logic by turning copper and zinc into a multi-million-dollar treasure. And this story serves as both inspiration and reminder that hidden fortunes often lie in the smallest and most overlooked places. Thank you for joining this incredible journey into the world of the 1996 1-cent USA coin with its jaw-dropping potential value of $4 million. If you enjoyed learning about this treasure and want more fascinating stories of rare coins and hidden fortunes, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more amazing discoveries that could change the way you look at the coins in your pocket forever. Next. Now we deep dive where we uncover one of the most incredible hidden treasures in American numismatic history, the 2002 1-cent coin, a coin that on the surface appears like just another ordinary penny minted in the billions, but beneath that simple copper-plated zinc shell lies a story of errors, mistakes, rarity, and mystery that has driven collectors wild and pushed its face value to a staggering $7 million, making it one of the most talked about modern-era coins in recent memory. And today we are going to peel back layer after layer of this mystery so that by the end you will understand exactly why such a coin, one that should only buy you a fraction of a piece of candy, could instead be worth a life-changing fortune. And to do that we must start with the year 2002 itself, a year when the Denver Mint was in full production, churning out hundreds of millions of coins for circulation. Yet even in the midst of this mass production process where machines were expected to achieve perfection, strange anomalies crept in, and those anomalies would eventually be identified as errors so rare and intriguing that a handful of coins became the stuff of legend, the 2002 cent being the crown jewel among them. And when we talk about errors, we're not talking about minor scratches or circulation where that happen after a coin has been used by the public. We're talking about mistakes during the actual minting process that permanently mark the coin as unique. Things like double dies where the design elements are struck more than once slightly off-center strikes where part of the design is missing because the blank was not aligned correctly in the press, broad strikes that showed the coin expanding outward without a retaining collar, wrong planchet strikes where a cent design lands on the metal disc intended for another denomination, or even major die cracks that create raised lines across Lincoln's face or the reverse memorial design, and all of these types of errors occurred in small numbers across many years, but for the 2002 cent, several extraordinary versions surfaced, causing a feeding frenzy among advanced collectors who knew that the rarity combined with the modern date would make this an instant classic. And imagine for a moment holding a coin in your hand that everyone else thinks is just a penny, tossing it into a jar or vending machine, while you know that this tiny piece of copper-plated zinc is actually worth millions. That's the thrill and mystery that surrounds coins like this, and it is exactly why so many people continue to study, search, and dream about stumbling across one in pocket change, because history has shown it is possible. And to understand why errors slip through, you have to appreciate the scale of minting, with hundreds of high-speed presses stamping out thousands of coins every minute. Even the tiniest mechanical hiccup, a misfeed, a slightly damaged die, or a misaligned collar can produce a handful of error coins before the issue is noticed and corrected, and those handful are enough to capture the imagination of collectors worldwide. Now when it comes to the 2002 D penny, some of the most famous errors identified include dramatic off-center strikes where nearly half the coin is blank and only part of Lincoln's portrait is visible, double die obverse where the inscriptions such as Liberty or the date 2002 appear shadowed or doubled, and even transitional errors where the coin was accidentally struck on leftover planchets not meant for cents at all, such as dime stock or even foreign coin blanks, and these unusual mistakes are what elevate an otherwise common penny into the realm of multi-million-dollar collectibles. And while most people look at a penny and think of 1 cent, in the world of rare coins the law of supply and demand completely changes the equation, because collectors with deep pockets are willing to pay astronomical prices to own one-of-a-kind examples. And that is how we reach the incredible valuation of $7 million for the most dramatic and pristine examples of the 2002 D error cents. And when you think about it, this is not just about money, it is also about history, art, and rarity combined in a way that touches human psychology, because humans have always been drawn to the rare and the unusual. Whether it's rare gemstones, rare stamps, or rare coins, the principle is the same: scarcity drives desire, and desire drives value, and the 2002 D cent is a perfect embodiment of that principle. Now let's imagine the possibilities. A coin struck on the wrong planchet that weighs less than a normal cent, collectors immediately test its weight and realize it's unique, or a coin struck with a rotated die where Lincoln's portrait is upright but the reverse is rotated 180 degrees. Such dramatic visual errors capture immediate attention and send prices skyrocketing. And then there are the repunched mint marks where the D of Denver appears doubled or tripled because the punch shifted slightly. Those may seem minor, but in the world of collecting, even such details can command thousands, and when combined with the right conditions, they feed into the legend of the $7 million coin. And one of the most fascinating aspects of this story is that most people alive today have touched, used, or spent a 2002 D cent without ever realizing the potential value it could hold, because only a handful of error varieties slipped through, and finding one is like striking gold in your pocket change. And this possibility has fueled treasure hunts, countless coin roll searches, and even family stories of someone finding a strange penny and later discovering its worth. And every time a major auction house lists a rare error coin like this, it reignites the excitement because prices often exceed expectations, sometimes doubling or tripling estimates because collectors compete fiercely for ownership, and in that competition lies the reason values soar so high. So when we say $7 million, we're not just throwing out a number. It is backed by the psychology of collecting, the rarity of the errors, and the willingness of passionate collectors to pay whatever it takes. And that's what makes the 2002 D cent such a remarkable part of coin collecting lore. And beyond the financial side, these coins tell stories of the minting process itself, showing us how human error or mechanical imperfection can accidentally create masterpieces, almost like a painter's brush slipping in just the right way to make an unrepeatable effect that later generations consider genius. And if you think about it, every error coin is essentially a frozen moment of minting history, an accident that became immortal, and the 2002 D cent is one of the most beautiful accidents of them all. And while many will never see one in person, the dream of finding one continues to drive collectors to search through change, buy rolls from banks, and study minting varieties. And who knows, maybe one day you too could stumble across a coin that looks just a little off, a coin that weighs differently, a coin that shows doubling, or a coin that feels unique. And that one small discovery could completely change your life, just like the lucky few who uncovered these 2002 D cents worth $7 million. So as we wrap this incredible journey into the story of one of the most valuable modern pennies ever struck, remember that every coin in your pocket has a history, every cent has a possibility, and sometimes, the smallest details can hide the biggest fortunes. So always check your change carefully, because you never know what treasures are waiting to be discovered. And if you enjoyed diving into the world of rare coin mysteries with me today, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another story of hidden wealth and history hiding in plain sight. Today we are going to explore the incredible story of the 2013 D 1 cent coin, a humble little penny minted in Denver that has shocked collectors and numismatists alike, with stories of it being worth as much as $2 million because of its extraordinary errors and mistakes that make it stand out as one of the most intriguing modern coins in American history. And if you've ever wondered how a coin that seems so ordinary at first glance could be hiding such hidden wealth, then you're in the right place, because we are going to peel back the layers of mystery and dive deep into the reasons why this single cent has turned into a piece of treasure, starting with the background of the 2013 penny itself, the conditions at the Denver Mint, the errors that slipped through production, and the possibilities that make this tiny coin worth such an astonishing sum. So let's begin by understanding that the 2013 D penny was part of the standard Lincoln Shield cent design that was first introduced in 2010 as a replacement for the Lincoln Bicentennial Reverse, and was meant to symbolize the Union preserved by President Abraham Lincoln, with its shield motif proudly displayed on the back and his iconic profile on the obverse, a coin struck by the millions with modern minting technology that should have prevented almost all mistakes. Yet even with these advanced processes, errors still manage to find their way into circulation and into the hands of collectors, and it is precisely these errors that make the difference between a coin being worth just a cent and being worth millions. And when we talk about the 2013 D penny, there are several fascinating categories of errors that contribute to its staggering valuation, beginning with striking errors, which occur during the minting process itself when dies fail to hit the blank planchet correctly or the planchet is misaligned, resulting in off-center strikes, double strikes, brockage errors, and misaligned dies, all of which are highly collectible and increase the desirability of a coin. And there are reports of 2013 D pennies with dramatic off-center strikes where a portion of the design is missing and the blank metal is visible, making the coin instantly rare and highly sought after. Then there are die errors, which include double dies, where the image appears doubled because of a misalignment during hubbing. And this has been one of the most famous and valuable types of coin errors throughout history, with certain double die cents like the 1955 and 1969 selling for astronomical amounts. And while the 2013 D penny may not be as well known yet, there are whispers of double die obverse or reverses that collectors have been hunting down, coins where Lincoln's I, the letters of liberty, or the shield lines appear doubled, and if authenticated by grading companies like PCGS or NGC, such coins can reach values in the millions. Then we must also consider planchet errors, which occur when the blank metal discs themselves are flawed before even reaching the dies, including clipped planchets where a portion of the coin is missing in a crescent shape, wrong planchet strikes where the penny design is struck on a dime or nickel planchet creating a coin that is lighter or heavier than normal, and even off-metal errors where the penny could be mistakenly struck on a foreign coin planchet, all of which send collectors into a frenzy because of their rarity and uniqueness. And there are documented cases of pennies from this modern era being struck on zinc-coated foreign planchets, causing them to stand out in both weight and coloration, and any such discovery from 2013 D could easily explain why a single example might be valued at $2 million. Then we move to design variations and anomalies that are not intentional but result from die deterioration, die polishing, or overuse of dies, which can create missing details, extra lines known as die cracks or cuds, or ghost-like images on the coin surface. And these varieties, though sometimes dismissed as minor, can become legendary when collectors start to recognize patterns and give them nicknames, with examples like extra leaf or wide AM varieties from previous cents fetching large premiums. So it is no surprise that the 2013 D penny has been scrutinized by experts looking for just such anomalies, and any confirmed variety could drastically increase demand, driving its value upward. But beyond the specific errors, what really propels this coin into multimillion-dollar territory is the combination of rarity, condition, and collector demand. Because it is not enough to simply have an error coin, it must also survive in pristine or near-mint condition, often graded MS67 or higher. And considering how pennies are handled, tossed into jars, rubbed against other coins, and exposed to the environment, it is incredibly rare for an error coin to remain in gem-uncirculated condition, which is why when one does surface, it commands astronomical prices at auction, and auction history has proven this time and again, with error coins selling for 6 and 7 figures depending on their rarity and preservation. So the rumors of a 2013 D penny valued at $2 million are not so far-fetched when you understand the dynamics of the market, because collectors and investors alike are willing to pay extraordinary amounts for the opportunity to own a one-of-a-kind piece of history. Now let's dive even deeper into the psychology of why such coins become so valuable. Because beyond their metallic composition, which is worth less than a cent, they become symbols of rarity, human error, and the unpredictability of minting. They tell stories about how even in the modern age of machines and technology, mistakes still happen and slip past quality control, giving collectors a sense of holding something that should not exist, a tangible reminder of the imperfections in what was thought to be a perfect system. And that narrative alone drives desirability and value. Then add to this the role of social media, news coverage, and viral stories of people discovering rare pennies in their change, which fuels a global treasure hunt, causing millions of people to suddenly check their pockets and coin jars, and this demand drives the frenzy higher, especially when a particular year and mint mark like the 2013 D gains a reputation for producing high-value errors, because then every collector, both amateur and professional, begins scouring for them, raising their profile and perceived value even more. And as with any collectible, speculation plays a role, with investors betting that today's rare coin could be tomorrow's record breaker, and so the legend of the 2013 D penny worth $2 million continues to grow, supported by stories of discovered errors, auction records, and the sheer allure of a penny turning into a fortune. And when we think about the possibilities of what kinds of errors could exist that justify such a price tag, we imagine things like a dramatic off-metal strike where the penny was struck on a dime planchet and perfectly preserved, or a doubled die with clear, unmistakable doubling on Liberty or I in God We Trust, or a mule error where the obverse of a penny was accidentally paired with the reverse of a dime or nickel, creating a coin that should never exist, any of which could explain such a staggering valuation. And while skeptics may doubt that such a coin could be worth so much, history has shown again and again that the rarest and most spectacular errors break expectations and set new records, so the 2013 D penny joins the ranks of legendary coins that spark fascination and dreams of sudden riches. And as we wrap up this journey through the world of errors, mistakes, and possibilities, remember that the real magic of this story lies not just in the value of the coin, but in the idea that something so small and ordinary can contain within it a secret that changes everything. And that is why collectors keep searching, why stories like this go viral, and why the humble penny continues to capture the imagination of millions. And if you enjoyed exploring this amazing world of the 2013 D1 coin rumored to be worth $2 million thanks to its errors and mistakes, make sure you like this video, share it with fellow treasure hunters, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss more incredible stories about coins that turn pocket change into life-changing fortunes.